Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining me again in the Jamaican kitchen. My name is Drew, and today we're going to do a dish that a lot of people asked me about. I cook on a regular basis because it's always requested. We're going to do Jamaican oxtails and butter beans. And as of late, I've seen some unusual way of cooking oxtails. Someone was cooking them in chicken broth. I don't know why you would do that. We don't do that. If you're going to cook chicken broth. If you're going to cook with beef broth. You know, let's get things right. So today I'm going to show you how I make oxtails and butter beans. So for ingredients today, we have 6 pounds of oxtail. It's been trimmed, washed, and then last night I gave it a very light seasoning of seasoned salt and garlic powder. I do like to season my meats the night before I use them. Then we also have 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 3 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of ground pimento, and then we also have about 15 whole pimentos. You're going to use these in 2 different portions of the cooking process. And of course we have our butter beans, and then we use beef bouillon, so that substitutes for the salt in this dish. This way we get more beef flavor and you get the necessary salt. And then also we have 1 large sliced onion, 5 cloves of garlic, and then of course the Scotch bonnet, and that's not going to be chopped, it's going to be left whole and it's just for flavoring, and then obviously for my consumption afterwards. And also today we're going to use brown gravy mix instead of browning and cornstarch. I just like the way the brown gravy mix works with the oxtails. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, we're going to start by browning our meat, and we have a Dutch pot here that's pretty hot with a couple of tablespoons of canola oil, and we're going to go ahead and brown this meat today and then put it in the pressure cooker to finish cooking. You can leave it inside this Dutch pot and let it finish on the stove for probably 5 to 6 hours depending on your meat and the quality of your meat and how big these oxtails are. I prefer the more medium size like this, so the majority of mine are fairly small. I have a couple of larger ones like this piece right here, but it's actually not even that big. We'll let these brown over all the way, and then we'll transfer them to the pressure cooker, and we'll let them cook for approximately 25 to 30 minutes. And then we'll put them back inside the Dutch pot and let them finish cooking on the stove. We're just removing a few hours of the cooking process, but they'll still cook here on the stove for a couple of hours. They're beautiful and caramelized they are now. This just adds extra flavor, so brown your meats. There's no reason not to. It doesn't take but a few minutes. And it really does impart beautiful depth of flavor to your food. Okay, so now we're going to start adding our meats to the pressure cooker, and we're going to start pressing. So if you look in the bottom of that pan, you can see all the caramelization. And we're going to deglaze the pan and add it with our oxtails in the pressure cooker. Be careful not to burn yourself, and the oil will sizzle pretty hard. That was a cup and a half of water that I basically rinsed the rest of the seasoning out of the bowl I had the meat in. And we're going to go ahead and rub the bottom of the pot. As it heats up, it will deglaze and remove all of that beautiful caramelization, and it just adds to the flavor. It really does add to the flavor. Alright, you can see that our pan is fully deglazed, and we have a nice golden brown fluid here in the bottom, and we're going to add this to our pressure cooker. Okay, here in the pressure cooker you can see that we have all of our browned oxtail, and we're going to add our deglazed pan fluids. Beautiful. We're not going to wash that pan out because we're going to actually put the oxtails back in. Before we pressure the oxtail, we're now going to add our pimento, the whole ones. A couple of sprinkles of our Italian seasoning, about half of it. And about half of our garlic powder. And with our seasonings we add 1 teaspoon of beef base, of beef bouillon. Now I do it at this part of the cooking process because as you're pressuring, as the word says, pressure, it pushes all these flavors into the meat. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off. Okay, let's check the tenderness. Ooh, yep, that's ready. Okay, it's ready to go back in the Dutchie. Now we're going to finish the cooking process. Now, if you can see down in that pressure cooker really well, you see that fluid on top? That fluid on top is oil, and that's what's come out of the meat. So there's 2 ways of removing this. You can remove it now while it's warm, or you can put it in the refrigerator and then let it cool and it would solidify and you can remove it then. But today we are going to remove it while it's warm, and we're going to take this spoon. See, that's all oil. Removing it does not harm the flavor, only but protects you from a heart attack. And I do suggest you remove it. Some people leave it, and I find it a little overbearing myself. I do not like overly oily food, and I am trying to watch the amount of oil I consume, and I do not want to feed my family this unnecessarily, so I remove it. And because I'm videotaping this today, typically I would have cooked this yesterday to consume today, but I would have got up this morning and I would have removed the oil from the top of the fluids. Got a little bit of the good stuff there in the bottom, but that's okay. There's enough in the pan. See, nobody needs this in their diet. Really don't. So first we're going to add the gravy mix. This is 1.5 cups of water with the gravy mix, which is probably equal to about 2 of the packages of gravy mix. Quick stir. Alright. Now we're going to add our seasonings. This was the rest of our garlic powder. And this is the ground pimento, the rest of our Italian seasoning, and our black pepper. And the reason why I don't put it all in while pressuring does pressure out a lot of the flavor, and so to trap some of the flavor back, I only put half in when pressuring and half in when I'm finalizing the dish. And then I use the whole pimentos while pressuring, because the pressuring forces a lot of the flavor out of the pimento at the time. And then when I finish the dish, you notice I just used a teaspoon of ground pimento, just to boost the flavors. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and add our onions and our garlic. and of course our Scotch bonnet. Now we're just going to put this on the simmer and let it cook down for another, as I said, 30 to 45 minutes. And oh, let's change that. And now we're going to go ahead and add our beans. We have 2 cans of butter beans. I use the large version. It doesn't matter what size you use, the large or the small. The large ones just cook out quicker, a little bit more tender than the small ones. That's it. Our beans are there in the pot. As I said before, we're going to let this cook for another 30 to 45 minutes until everything's melded together and the meat's just about to fall off the bone, and then we should be able to serve. So today, to go with our oxtail and butter beans, we're going to make a side of broccoli. And these are broccoli florets. We're going to simply do a light seasoning, and then we're going to roast them in the oven. We're going to roast them so they just get a slight char. It's absolutely delicious, and because it has a strong flavor, it works really well with the very strong beef flavors that oxtail has. So to get started, you need to wash your broccoli thoroughly and cut to medium to small sizes. And then you need to do a slight drizzle of oil, olive oil, canola oil, any one of those oils will be fine. And we season with a light dusting of garlic powder. Also a light dusting of seasoned salt. And then black pepper. So a friend of mine's daughter actually showed me this recipe some time ago. And I really like it. And when I make it for other people, they've never heard of it, I've never seen anything like it before. And it's so simple to make. And it's so much better than just plain old boring steamed broccoli. Oop, trying to escape the party. Alright, so we're going to do a quick toss, get them all covered. Get them all covered, and then we're going to place them in a baking tray. It's just enough to cover this tray. Another one trying to escape. So evenly spread it across the tray. I use a little bit of foil underneath it. Now we have it evenly spread. And we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven for about 15 minutes at 400 degrees. And they go on the top shelf of the oven, 400 degrees, for about 15 minutes. Okay, we are at a 15-minute mark, and here we go. Look at that. You see the caramelization? That's what it should look like. Just slightly charred, browned on the corners and the edges. It is so delicious. I'm so excited for you guys to try this one. That's right, perfection on a plate. Here it is. Our today's meal is oxtail and butter beans. We have a side of roasted broccoli, some fried plantain, and of course my addiction, my Scotch bonnet pepper. And yes, that's exactly how I keep this beautiful figure. That is my plate, and I'm going to eat the entire thing. If you enjoyed this video today, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. More times you hit that subscribe button, more videos I can make in the future. And also hit the notification so you know what I load up next. Thank you for watching. God bless. That's our man for feed, man belly.